Hi, we're Group 10, and my name is Dan Shake, and I'm accompanied by...
I'm Delia.
I'm Naz.
I'm Alex.
I'm Alex as well.
I'm Ali.
Both crew.
And we worked with Cleaning for You service to develop a scheduling system, an online scheduling system that could handle their request for cleaning. In the course of this video, we will walk you through how we went from concept to fruition of a real live website.
The HCI work was the first step in creating our website. The HCI portion of the project aimed to gather enough information in order to produce the best possible solution for the cleaning company's website. We conducted interviews with the client and potential users, as well as analyzing the websites of 2 other cleaning companies. We were then able to create a list of key user needs, which were used to create a scenario with accompanying storyboard. This process built the foundations of the design. Once the design of the website had been finalized, a lab study was conducted to assess the success of our product. The results of the lab study highlighted a few key issues with our design. These were: the Book Now button was not clearly positioned enough on the screen, and it took some of the users a bit longer than expected to find it. Also, some users felt that there was very limited information about the cleaning company on the website. However, the positive feedback of the lab study showed that users liked that the page was not cluttered and that the instructions of the booking process were written clearly and concisely. Also, users could easily book a cleaner as the booking process was not overcomplicated with multiple steps.
This is the software engineering requirements and use cases section. I sorted both the functional requirements and non-functional requirements into a Moscow list. A Moscow list has 4 sections: must, should, could and would. The must factors are all implemented into the website as we felt they were the most important, and therefore we made sure we did those first. The should, could and would are things that we would like to implement at a later date if we had the time, and it would give our software the edge over our competitors. I mentioned earlier about the functional and non-functional requirements. Functional requirements define the system, while non-functional define the operation of the system. They're used to judge the behaviour of it. I also included a domain model diagram which gives a brief overview of how our system works, although as it's quite simple there's not much on the diagram. I also wrote use cases and put a use case diagram in this part of the report. The use case diagram gives a brief overview of what the user would do when using the site, whilst the use cases are various examples of what people could do while using the site. We included the should, could and would requirements in this to A, have more use cases, and B, give a better understanding of what the site could do at its full potential.
During the object-oriented analysis, the requirements and the use cases were examined thoroughly and integrated into diagrams that lay the foundation for the object-oriented paradigm of our project. These are as follows. First comes the class diagram representing the classes needed for the objects that will aid the functionality, and the control structure that will be implemented in the architecture design pattern adopted. Second, the elaboration of each use case to an activity diagram, considering the necessary pre- and post conditions to be met. Third, a neat sitemap. And last but not least, we had to make decision for our architecture design pattern. We chose MVC to separate the presentation layer clearly.
So after the analysis section was done, we designed how the system was going to be designed. We followed an MVC model, which stands for Model, View and Controller. Models are responsible for the problem domain. The views are representations of the model state, and most of the logic takes place in the controllers. This is a Java class diagram, UML diagram. It has all of the methods, variables, classes, and inheritance between the classes. The three controllers mentioned, booking controller, confirmation controller, and index controller, all inherit from the built-in class HTTP servlet in order to use the necessary methods for the controllers to function. The booking controller class also inherits from the booking, user, and cleaner objects as well. Sequence diagrams are also made. These are diagrams which show the steps that a user has to take in order to achieve something. This is a sequence diagram displaying an abstract version of how the application will work. Initially, the browser does a GET request from the booking view to display the booking.jsp file to the user. The booking controller then creates one or more cleaner, user, and booking objects from the appropriate models. The objects created will depend on the user's actions. This is another sequence diagram. This time it shows the steps when a user books a cleaner. In this sequence, the browser gets the content to display from the booking.jsp file like the last diagram, but the difference is that when a user has booked a cleaner, the browser will request a confirmation.jsp file so that the user can see that the booking has been confirmed.
At this point, we're going to walk through the implemented website, and we're going to focus on two core use cases. The first use case is a user searching the website for more information regarding the services offered and the quality of services offered. The second use case is a user booking an appointment. Let's investigate the first use case further. When a user navigates to this URL, they will be greeted with this index page or this home page. Now this home page explains what the services are, at what rate, and how does a user go about booking an appointment. If the user scrolls down further, they can get some of the marketing material and the points that this website wants to project. And if they scroll further down, they get to read some testimonials, getting a better understanding of the quality of services. So this page particularly delivers on the first use case. It allows a user to gain an understanding of what the services are, what the quality of the services are, and how do they progress if they're satisfied with the type of service and the quality of the service. And that leads us into our second core use case, which is booking an appointment. Once a user has reviewed and understood and agrees and wants to move forward, they have a clear path, and that is directed by this Book Now button. Once a user clicks the button, they are taken to this form to fill out, which basically is scheduling of an appointment. Now this form is highly interactive. It gives immediate feedback. Should a user give invalid data, they are warned with a red box, an X mark. Conversely, if they've entered data correctly or within a set parameters, acceptable parameters, they are shown a checkbox and with a check mark within a green box. And this gives a quick, responsive feel to the user, allowing them to quickly navigate the site and to progress in an easy manner, and it's very intuitive and responsive. So I'm going to quickly fill out the remainder of this site, and as you can see, I'm getting immediate feedback that I've done it correctly. Now, once the user's filled out the entire site correctly, the entire form correctly, they are able to progress by submitting. Once they submit, the data is validated on the back end. It is persisted according to those mechanisms, and if all passes, then the user sees this form, which is basically a confirmation page saying that the details that they submitted have been accepted and the transaction has been completed. This page gives the user the remaining details. What is their confirmation ID, the details of the engagement, and who they have contracted with. Now, these first two use cases are the primary pillars of this website. Their implementations allow for future enhancements, for example, feedback forms, or appointment management, for cancellation, configuration, things of that nature. Overall, the implementation is solid and is a proper basis and a consistent basis for future development.
Hi. Thank you very much for listening to this video. I hope you got a better understanding of how we implemented this project and what were the different steps we followed. Now it's very important to understand what were the achievements, what were the stuff we were not able, unfortunately, to implement, and what could happen in the future with this project. So we were able to implement all the core functionalities of this service booking, which is a cleaning service booking. But unfortunately, due to time restrictions, we were not able to implement the whole social media platform with the feedback forms and the user profiles. However, all the core functionalities, like I said previously, are there. And these functionalities actually allow an easy and straightforward booking for cleaning services. And I do hope in the future existing companies could use this service for their websites. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice evening.